Hello students, good morning all of you. Welcome to our next lecture of plant anatomy. We are going to study now the primary structure of the plant body. You know that up till now we have studied the various types of tissues from meristematic, permanent tissues. In meristematic tissues we have studied the continuously dividing cells, and after dividing it produces the permanent tissues. That permanent tissues may be simple or complex tissues. So simple tissues may be parenchymatous, collenchymatous, sclerenchymatous, and in case of complex tissue they may be xylem and phloem. So all these tissues we have studied up till now. Now we are going to study the organization of all these types of tissues in a plant body, in a primary plant body and in a secondary plant body. So what do you mean by primary structure of the plant body? So primary structure means that the first developed tissues when the plant grows, that is the embryo comes out uh, from the seed in the form of shoot and root. This development, that's the newly or the firstly formed tissues in the plants from the embryo, that is known as the primary tissues. And these primary tissues when makes the plant body, that plant body is known as the primary plant body, or you can say the primary structure of the plant body. So the firstly formed tissues from the embryo which makes the primary structure of the plant body, that is the primary tissues and primary structure of that plant body. So let's see what is primary plant body. That primary plant body, it is develops from embryo into root and stem. Yes, the first when the we sow the seeds, and the first thing which is arises or develop from these seeds is the root. That is a, we can say that it is a sprout. So firstly developed part is the radicle, that means root, and then slowly the plumule, that is it grows outside the seed, and that plumule it makes a shoot. So all these tissues that makes this growth, that this makes this structure, that is root and shoot, that is the firstly formed root and shoot, that is all are primary tissues. Okay, so the plant body develops from the embryo into root and stem, and this growth of the roots and stems in length with the help of apical meristem is called the primary growth. So the that is growth of the shoot, it takes place by apical meristem, that is present at the tip of the shoot, and the growth of the root takes place by the activity of the meristematic tissues present on the apical part of that root. So these apical meristematic tissues, they are responsible for the growth in length of root and shoot. Okay, so this growth of root and stem in length, okay, with the help of what? With the help of apical meristematic tissues, it is known as the primary growth. Okay, so most primary growth, they occurs at the apices, at the tip of the stem and root. So primary growth is a result of rapidly dividing cells in the apical meristems at the shoot tip and the root tip. Got the point? So primary growth is nothing but the growth due to apical meristem, activity of the apical meristematic tissues present at the tip of the root and the shoot. And the root and stem, it makes continuous structures called the axis of the plant, and this results into the continuous growth, that is shoot apical meristematic tissue and the root apical meristematic tissues, they continuously divide and add the cells into that part, and hence the length, the growth in length takes place, and it forms a continuous axis. that is the shoot and the root axis together form a continuous plant axis. So this is the primary growth. This is the primary structure which formed after the germination of seed. Okay, so these plant organs, that is root, stem and leaves, firstly formed plant organs, that is root, then shoot, and on the shoot there arises a leaves. These plant organs, which is composed of primary tissues, which primary tissues, that is simple and that is complex tissues. Simple tissues contains the parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and the complex tissues, they contain the primary vascular tissues, that means primary xylem and phloem. It is called the primary structure, that is the plant organs which is developed which are developed from the that is root, stem and leaves, firstly formed and composed of primary tissues, is called primary structure. The vascular structure is continuous from the root of the stem, root to the stem. So this vascular structure, that is the primary complex tissues or the xylem and phloem, they form a continuous channel. As we have seen in xylem and phloem, they are a tube like structure, or it acts as a pipeline. So pipeline is as the pipeline is continuous, these tissues, they are also in a continuous form. Okay, so this continuation is from root to stem. So vascular tissue or the vascular structure is continuation from the root to the stem. And the epidermis, cortex, endodermis, pericycle, all these parts of the primary structure, they are in the same in both the organs. Both the organs means root and stem, but the arrangement of vascular bundle is quite different in the two organs. Okay, so these part, that is the epidermis, cortex, endodermis, these are the, from when we see the internal structure of any plant body, from the outer and from the outer part up to the center part, the sequence is the outermost part is the epidermis. Okay, as you all know that the outermost covering of the plant is epidermis. Then under the epidermis there is a portion of tissues present, that is known as the cortex region. Then cortex, under the cortex there is a formation of a layer that is known as the endodermis. Under the endodermis pericycle is present, and under the pericycle there is a presence of vascular tissues or vascular bundles which are made up of xylem, phloem. Okay, so this is the arrangement of the tissues in the structure, that is internal structure of that is stem and the root. So let's see the figure how it arranged. That is you can see in the picture, that is the uppermost part is a single layered structure, then the middle part is the cortex part, then this one circular part you can see there, that forms, that is endodermis. Then under the endodermis there is a presence of pericycle, and then at the center there is a presence of phloem, xylem and pith region. Okay, so let's see one by one what is this structure. Okay, so firstly we are going to study the primary structure of dicotyledonous root of sunflower. So we are started with the root. Now further we will that is study the stem part and the leaves part of the primary structure of the plant body. So we are starting with the root, that is the primary structure of dicotyledonous root. Yes, it is the dicotyledonous root. You know the difference, or externally, that is morphologically, we can differentiate the dicotyledons and the monocotyledons. In dicotyledons, roots are, that is, which type of roots are present? Yes, it is a taproot system, that is tap roots are present. But in case of monocotyledons, there is a presence of adventitious root system. Yes, so but internally how it differentiate? Let's see. primary structure of the dicotyledonous root. Here we take a plant of sunflower. So this structure contains internally, when we see the root structure, when we take a tiers of the root, that is the transverse section of the root, it looks like looks like that is seen in the figure. So the first or the outermost part is known as the epidermal part, but in case of root it is known as the epiblema, or you can say the piliferous layer or the rhizodermis. Why it is known as the piliferous or the rhizodermis? Because you see there the epidermal outgrowth that we have seen in the epidermal outgrowth, that is epidermal appendages, that is the protective tissue system. These epidermal appendages, that is the root hairs, that is the elongation of the epidermal cells. Some of the epidermal cells, they forms a elongated structure or thin hair like structure, that is known as the unicellular root hair. So that's why this layer is known as the piliferous layers or the rhizodermis. Okay, so the outermost covering of the root is known as the epiblema, which contains a minute hair like projections known as the root hair. Okay, so it is the outermost layer. These cells, that is the epiblemal cells, they are somewhat thin walled and compactly arranged. That means there is no intercellular spaces. Okay, so they are compactly arranged, intercellular spaces are absent, and the cells are thin walled and they are living type. Okay, so there is that is absence of cuticle and the stomata. Why there is absence of cuticle and stomata? Because roots they do not the requirement of that is gaseous exchange and also the transpiration and the photosynthesis and all these. So the stomata is absent, and also the cuticle is also absent because they are not facing the environment directly. So they don't need any protective covering, and also they have to absorb the water. So to absorb the water, when cuticle is present, they do not absorb the water. They will not have to absorb the water from the soil. So hence the cuticle is absent. So stomata and cuticle, they both are absent in root epidermis or the root epiblema. Okay, and some of these cells of the epiblema, you know that they produces a unicellular hair like structure that is known as root hair, and these root hairs increases the surface area of water absorption. When they are present in more number, they increases the more surface area and they absorb more water from the soil, and it translocate to the upper part of the plant body. Okay, so this is the structure, that is the outermost covering. You only focus on the outermost covering of the that is root, that is epiblema. Epiblema, the cells, they are compactly arranged, thin walled, okay, living cells. Then some of these cells, they produces a unicellular hair like structure that is known as root hairs. These epiblemal cells, there is a absence of stomata and cuticle. So this is the first part or the outermost part of the root of the sunflower. So now let's go to the next part, that is the cortex part, as we have focus here the cortex part only. Okay, so in case of root of the plant, it is present under the epiblema or next to the epiblema. Okay, or you can say the inside to the epiblemal layer, there is a presence of multi-layered cortex tissues. Okay, so these cortex tissues, that is this cortex is made up of many layers of thin walled living cells. So thin walled living cells, that is parenchymatous cells. Only the parenchymatous cells, they are present in the cortex region of the root. Okay, so only one type of tissues or one type of parenchymatous cells, they are present in the cortex region. Hence the cortex is homogeneous. Homogeneous means only one type of tissues they are present in that region. If there may be present there there may be present parenchymatous as well as collenchymatous as well as sclerenchymatous. When all the three types of that is simple tissues when present in the cortex, then that cortex, it may be a heterogeneous. Yes, homogeneous means what? Only one type of tissues makes the whole cortex. Okay, so the cortex of the root, they are homogeneous, and it is made up of thin walled that is thin walled parenchymatous cells. Okay, so parenchymatous cells means living cells. The cortex is living in nature. Okay, and these cells may be oval or rounded in shape and show somewhat intercellular spaces, because they are parenchymatous, and parenchymatous cells are thin walled, and when they group together they form a gap. There is a presence of gap in between these two cells, and that is known as the intercellular spaces, because there is no any deposition on the cell wall. So intercellular spaces are present in the cortex region, and this cortex region or these cells of the parenchymatous cells, they forms sometimes contains the leucoplast, chromoplast, and all these that is pigments, you know. So this is the cortex region. Under the epiphyema, there is a presence of multi-layered structure that is known as the cortex. So this is the arrangement. So first, when we see from the outer, when we go from outer to inner side, we see first layer is epiphyema, then the next multi-layer is the cortex. Now what will be the next after the cortex? Let's see. After cortex, there is a formation of endodermis. This endodermis, that is the continuous layer you can see here. This endodermis, that is just after the cortex, there is a single layered cell that is membrane, that is known as the endodermis. And this endodermis, it differentiate or demarcation line between the cortex and the under the that is vascular tissues. So this is the demarcation line which differentiate cortex and the vascular part. Okay, so this endodermis, it is the innermost layer of the cortex, that is the cortex end here. Okay, so this is the innermost layer of the cortex, and it is a single layer of barrel shaped cells. Barrel, you know the barrel of drum like structure or the barrel. So it is a barrel shaped structure. It is closely packed cells of the, and which is made up of parenchymatous cells. But though although it is a parenchymatous cells, but cells of these, that is cell wall of these tissues, it is somewhat thick at the that is the radial walls, you can say. The radial walls of this layer are thick due to the deposition of that is suberin or the lignin type of material, which is known as the Casparian strips. That is the radial walls, that is the adjacent walls, you can say the adjacent radial walls, they are thick due to the only these radial walls, they are thick. Okay, so because the endodermis, it that is the two tissues, they do not exchange any material. Okay, so that's why there is a formation of, that is the, this is the radial this is the tissue, and this is the adjacent wall, that is the radial walls, it gets thickened. Not the inner and the outer wall, it is not thickened, only the adjacent walls, they get thickened. Okay, so these thickened, that is deposition, these thickened walls, that is known as the Casparian strips. It looks like a strips like structure, that is known as the Casparian strips. Okay, so these cells, that is you can see the structure, that is the some four lines you can see there. So the four lines which are made up of xylem tissues, that is metaxylem and protoxylem, and towards the side of the, or at the endodermal side, there is a small that is cell is present, that is known as the protoxylem. And these cells, that is the when endodermal cells, they are facing the, that is protoxylem tissue, they they just present against that protoxylem. Only these endodermal cells, they are thin walled cells. Those endodermal cells, so you can see in the picture, that is the four rays are there, and the four rays, they are forms from a, that is they contain the larger cell and the smaller cells. So the larger cells, they are present at the center region, and the smaller cells, they are present towards the endodermal region. So these smaller cells, that is known as the protoxylem cells. These protoxylem, when they are present against the endodermal cells, only those endodermal cells which are present near to the protoxylem or against to the protoxylem, only these endodermal cells, they are thin walled. Why they are thin walled? Because they have to absorb, or they have to transfer water from that protoxylem to the cortex through these endodermal cells. So that's why these endodermal cells, they are thin walled, so that they can easily pass that water from the protoxylem to the cortex region. So only these cells which are thin walled and can pass the water from the xylem to the cortex region, that cell, they are thin walled cells and known as the passage cells. Yes, they do not have any Casparian strips. Their radial walls, they are not thick. Only that portion of the endodermal region, endodermis, they are thin walled, and only that cells allow the water, passage of water from xylem to the cortex region. That's why they are thin walled, and they are known as the passage cells. Passage means they form a passage for the water to move from xylem to the cortex region. And other than the passage cells and all the area of the endodermal cells, they have the thickened radial walls, and they do not allow any water or any material from inside to the outside. Okay, so this is about the endodermis, which contains the, which is a single layered cells, barrel shaped cells. They are closely packed. Their radial walls are thickened due to deposition of the suberin, and hence they do not allow any substances from inside to the outside or outside to the inside. Only the cells, that is endodermal cells, which are present against to the protoxylem, these cells are thin walled, they do not have any thickening, and they allow the water from inside to the outside, and that is known as the passage cells of the endodermis. Okay, so this is about the endodermis, which is present, which is the innermost layer of the cortex, and which is also the demarcation line in between the cortex and the central part of the that is root. Okay, so let's see the another structure that is present inside the endodermis. Just inside the endodermis, there is again a single layered, or in some cases it may be a multi-layered, but in the root it is a single layered structure. Just inside to the endodermis, there is a presence of second layer, that is known as pericycle layer. It is known as pericycle, and it lies inside the endodermis. The cells, they are thin walled and compactly arranged. The cells of endodermis, they are thin walled and pericycle, they are thin walled and compactly arranged. Some lateral roots, that is the primary root, and when the secondary roots arises, that is known as the lateral roots, they arises from the pericycle region. Okay, and inside the pericycle, there is a presence of vascular bundles. Okay, just to the pericycle, these are the single layered continuous layer. Now inside the pericycle, you see the red and the yellow parts. Okay, red and the yellow regions, and which is marked as, that is red region, it shows the large cells and the small cells. Large cells towards the center and small cells towards the endodermal or the pericycle region. So these are the xylem vessels. These xylem vessels, when there is presence of large vessels, that is known as the metaxylem, and the smaller vessels, that is known as the protoxylem. Okay, so this red region, it is the xylem tissues, and the yellow patches you can see in between the that red regions, it is known as the phloem part. That is, yellow part is the phloem part. And these arrangement, when there is a presence of xylem and phloem together, that is forms of vascular bundles. So there is a specific arrangement of xylem and phloem tissues in the vascular bundles, and due to that, or on the basis of this arrangement, these vascular bundles, they are of various types, and we have to differentiate the that is stem and the root on the basis of these types of vascular bundles. So let's see what type of vascular bundles they are present in the root. So you see this arrangement, that is there is a one patch of xylem tissue, and then alternating to that xylem there is a patch of phloem tissue. Again there is a patch of xylem, then there is a patch of phloem tissue. That is the alternately they are arranged, xylem and phloem, or they are present side by side. Okay, so this type of arrangement of the vascular tissues, or the vascular tissues, that is known as the radial arrangement, and that type of vascular bundle is known as the radial vascular bundles. And this is the tetrarch condition. Tetrarch means the 4 arms you can see here, that is known as hence they are known as the tetrarch. Okay, 4 radiating arms are there of the xylem tissues, that is known as the tetrarch. 4 that is arch is there is presence, and this xylem and the phloem form, it forms a separate patches, that is lie on different radii, that is their radius location, that is they are forms, they are not present on the same radii, that is xylem and then phloem, next to the phloem it is the same radii, but they are present in the different radii, that is xylem is on the first that is radii, and the phloem is present on the another radii, that is they are separate, they are present on the separate radius. Okay, so this type of arrangement is known as the radial arrangement and the radial vascular bundles. So metaxylem, that is present towards the inside, that is the center part of the root, that is known as the pith region. Okay, so this metaxylem, they are facing towards the central or the pith region, and the protoxylem, that is the smaller vessels, they are present towards the endodermal, that means you can say the outer region of the they are facing towards the outside. Okay, and metaxylem present facing towards the inside. This condition is known as the exarch condition. As you have seen in the our tissues part, that when the metaxylem, they are present towards the inside or towards the center part of the any plant body, and the protoxylem present towards the outer side of the plant body, that is towards the endodermis or towards the epidermis part. So this condition is known as the exarch condition. That means it is based on the where the protoplasm is facing or where the protoplasm is present. So these protoplasm, they are towards the which part, that is towards the outer part, that means exarch, towards the outside. So hence it is the exarch condition. Vascular bundles, they are present in the exarch form. Okay, they are radial type and condition is exarch. Got the point? You can understand the exarch condition, or what do you mean by radial condition? Radial condition means when the xylem is present on the separate radii and the phloem is present on the separate radius. Okay, these two, they are separately present, but they are present just alternate to each other and forms a patch. It is a radial condition. Any type of root, there is a presence of radial vascular bundles, and it is the differentiation point of the root and the stem. Yes, the type of vascular bundles can differentiate the root to the stem. Okay, in stem there is a presence of conjoint collateral vascular bundle, but in case of root there is a presence of radial vascular bundles. Also The exact condition also differentiate the stem and the root. In case of root, there is a exact condition, but in case of stem, it is a endarch condition. The opposite it is. Okay, this is the how internally we can differentiate the root and the stem. Okay, when you see the transverse section of both root and stem, and you don't know ki, this is the root and this is the stem section, so how you come to know? Oh yes, you observe the vascular bundles and the this exarch or endarch condition. Where is the protoxylem tissues they are present. Okay, so you can easily identify the transverse section of root and the stem by seeing these structures. Okay, so this is the vascular bundles. Now let's see what is the present what type of that is tissues they are present in the vascular bundles. You know that xylem and phloem and pith, they are present in the vascular bundles. Okay, so xylem, we have seen that xylem is in exarch condition and it consists of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. All these, that is the complex tissue, that is xylem, which is made up of 4 different type of cells, and 4 different types of cells are xylem tracheids, that is a tube like structure, then xylem vessels, then xylem parenchyma and the xylem fibers. Xylem is the dead tissue. This is seen in the red patch. Okay, so this is the xylem tissue. Then phloem, they are present alternate to the xylem, that is in the yellow patches you can see here. It forms a oval masses beneath the pericycle. They are present just under the or inside the pericycle, alternating with the xylem bundles. Okay, it consists of, again, it is a complex tissue which is made up of different types of cells. So in case of root, the phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells and phloem parenchyma. That is phloem sclerenchyma or phloem fibers are absent in roots. Okay, so they are only present in the stem region. Only 3 different cells they form a phloem tissue, which is, that is sieve tubes, companion cells and the phloem parenchymatous cells. Okay, they are present in a that is in a group, or it forms a bundle, it forms a mass. Okay, so this is the phloem. Now the pith region, which is the center part of the any primary structure of the plant body, and this pith, which is made up of the, that is ground tissue made up of the thin walled cells, parenchymatous cells, and it consists of the that is parenchymatous or thin walled cells only. So in some cases the in young or the primary structure pith is present, but as the secondary growth takes place, this pith it get degenerate or absent. Okay, so this is all about the primary structure, that is primary structure of the plant body. As you can see, the first we see the whole, that is the structure, it looks like that. So first part is the epiblema, that is the outermost covering of the root. This outermost covering, that is epiblema, their cells are thin walled and compactly arranged without any intercellular spaces, and the stomata and cuticle, they are also absent. Only these cells produces a unicellular hair-like projections, that is known as root hairs, which meant for the absorption of water. This is the epidermal, that is the outermost covering. Just inner to the epiblema is a single layered, and just inner to the epiblema there is a presence of multi-layered thin walled parenchymatous cells structure, that is known as the cortex. And these cells, they are thin walled, shows intercellular spaces, and only the one type of tissues makes the cortex, that means they are homogeneous in structure, that is cortex is homogeneous. Now this cortex, that is the innermost part which ends, that is the cortex ends with the endodermis. So endodermis is the innermost part of the cortex, and it demarcates the cortex and the internal part of the root. So endodermis, it is made up of barrel shaped cells and compactly arranged cells. The radial walls of these endodermal cells, they are thickened due to the deposition of suberin, but only the cells which are present against the protoxylem, they are thin walled and they allow the entry of water. That cells, they are the passage cells. So all the, that is endodermal cells, the only some cells, they act as a passage cells, and all the that is endodermal cells, they shows the thickenings on the radial walls. That thickening is known as the Casparian strips. They don't allow the water. Okay, so this is the endodermis. Then inside to the endodermis, there is again a single layered that is membrane is present, that is known as the pericycle. Then pericycle, there is a presence inside the pericycle, there is a presence of vascular bundles, that is they are present in the form of xylem and phloem. This xylem and phloem, they are present on the different radii. Xylem contains the metaxylem and the protoxylem. Metaxylem present towards the center region, and the protoxylem present towards the epidermal region. So the condition is exarch, and the vascular bundles, they are of radial type. Okay, there is a presence of phloem, and the xylems, they are present in alternate manner. Okay, and at the center there is a presence of thin walled parenchymatous cells, that is known as peak. So this is overall structure of the internal structure or the primary structure of the dicotyledonous root. So how it looks, that is the whole internal structure. Okay, you can understand the internal structure of the root. Now how the water passes. Yes, let's have a look how the that is root hairs absorb water from the soil, and how the path of that water that they from the soil to up to the xylem tissue, because ultimately xylem is the water conducting tissue. When this water enters up to the xylem tissues, then xylem tissues, they conduct that water or translocate that water up to the stem region or up to the leaf or the upper aerial part of the plant body. Okay, so let's have a look. You can see the epidermis or the epiblema of the, that is root. Okay, this epiblema, it contains a hair like projection, that is the epidermal projections, that is known as the root hair, and this root hair is come in contact with the soil water. So these root hairs, when absorb the soil water, the root hair comes to the epidermal cell. Okay, now these epidermal cells, next to the epidermal cells, there is a presence of cortex cells, cortex tissue. This water goes to the first cortex layer, then from first cortex layer it goes to the second, then third, then fourth. It how many layers, it depends on the how many layers they are present in the cortex region. Now ultimately this cortex region which is just a minute. Yes, this cortex region, that is ultimately connected to the endodermis. Okay, so this endodermis, you see the endodermal region, that is just present towards the that is against the protoxylem. This water that is comes to the endodermal passage cells, and these passage cells then transfer that water to the pericycle cell, and this pericycle cell then transfer it to the protoxylem region, and hence the water moves to the xylem and reach up to the xylem tissue. Now these xylem tracheids or the vessels, they forms a continuous that is line, continuous structure, channel you can say, and it goes to the upper part of the plant body. So this is the path of the water from soil up to the xylem, and as it reach up to the xylem, then the next xylem, it conducts that water to the outer part of the plant body or every part of the plant body. So this is the you can see the passage cells clearly in this picture. That is the protoxylem. This protoxylem region, next to the protoxylem there is a pericycle, and next to the pericycle the you can see the arrow in that cell. That cell is known as the passage cells. Only the that part of the endodermal cells, they allow the water from outside to the or inside to the outside. Okay, so these are the passage cells, and all the remaining cells, they do not allow on the that is movement of water, because their radial walls are thickened and they forms a Casparian strips. As you can see that radial walls, they are somewhat darker in shade. So these are the Casparian strips. Okay, so label you can see the arrow, that is Casparian strip, and this is somewhat thickened, that is the adjacent cell walls, that is known as the radial cell wall, that is thickened. Okay, got the point? You can see the epiblema, you can see the cortex here, you can see the endodermis, you can see the passage cells and other radial cells, then you can see the pericycle also, then you can see the protoxylem, you can see the metaxylem of the xylem tissue. Okay, and to the and next to the xylem there is a presence of phloem. So this is ultimately the primary structure of the dicotyledonous root, and how the path of water, that is the how the entry of water takes place, and what is the path of water, how the water passes from one cell to another cell and reach up to the xylem. Okay, so this is the end of the today's lecture. In the next lecture we will study the primary structure of the stem of dicotyledonous stem. Then we will differentiate, or we will compare the internal structure of root and the stem. Then then you can understand the, after comparison you can understand the differentiation. Okay, so in next lecture we will see the primary structure of dicotyledonous stem of sunflower. Okay, so this is the end of the today's lecture. We will see we will meet in the next lecture with the primary structure of dicotyledonous stem. So thank you and stay tuned.